San Antonio Spurs put on a clinic, one of the most dominant finals first halves you'll ever see. It's 76-49.
In psychology, pressure is any factor or combination of factors that increases the importance of performing well. Down 29 in Game 4 of the NBA Finals at Madison Square Garden, a team that hasn't won a championship in over 50 years did this. It's actually surprisingly difficult to calculate clutch. By definition, clutch is when someone performs above the standard while under pressure, and choking is when they perform below. Take Jalen Brunson, for example. In the regular season, he scored 26 points per game, but in the postseason before the finals, that went up to 26.8, and then in the finals, a whopping 32 points per game. So you could say he's clutch. When the pressure was greater, he performed better. But take a look at this graph. This is all the points that Jalen Brunson scored in every game that he played this season. You can see that it is everywhere, and this is why it's really difficult to use those numbers to tell the story of clutchness. Instead, I think there are a few moments from Game 4 that show the psychology of clutch and choke far better than the numbers really can. We have to start here, at the beginning of the third quarter. The Spurs are up by a crazy 29 points. It's been quick three after quick three, and it feels like they cannot miss. Their win probability is hovering between 95 and above 99%. The Knicks, on the other hand, are not playing nearly as well. It seems like nothing is really falling. Cat has 2 fouls in the literal first minute, which is not ideal. And I think Jalen Brunson finished that first half with 9 points. So let's talk about pressure. I like this study a lot. It basically takes a bunch of different variables and shows how they work together and impact each other to eventually create performance under pressure. That's whether we choke or we clutch up. It starts with sport confidence. That's how confident are we generally in the sport that we play, and then expertise, which is experience. And then we hit pressure. After pressure comes these 3 variables that essentially work like pool balls in a combo, hitting and impacting each other, eventually to create clutchness or choke. It's hard to tell if the Knicks or the Spurs are more self-confident at this moment. The Knicks are a more experienced team that are used to coming back from deficits, even in the playoffs. The Spurs are younger, but they're up by 29, and they did win the last game in Madison Square Garden. It's hard to tell who is more self-confident at this moment. But these next 2 variables are where it gets really, really cool. Like here in the fourth quarter, the Spurs are still up 15, but the momentum is shifting. And so Mitch Johnson calls a timeout. Some research has shown that timeouts are a great way to stop an opponent's momentum and can reduce opponent's performance by 56%. So a timeout is a great way to take control of the game. But the Knicks keep clawing back, and Mitch Johnson doesn't use his next timeout until this happens.
3, Anunoby, bang! 4-point game, timeout San Antonio!
This is perceived control. The Spurs are factually in control of this game, but they are not playing like it. And Mitch Johnson doesn't take a timeout to keep them in control until the lead is cut to 4. The Knicks, on the other hand, are not in control, but they're playing like they are. They have to move fast, sure, but they're still moving the ball, and they're still finding space, and they continue to take threes, trusting they will eventually start to fall. Psychology is weird and cool because sometimes it's not the thing itself that affects us, it's how we think about or how we perceive the thing. This is very much one of those moments. The Spurs choked away a lead here because when pressure hit, they stopped playing like they were in control, and now it's a game. The Spurs are turning over the ball way more, the Knicks' shots are finally falling. It's a dogfight still, but eventually the Knicks close the gap. Here's our second moment, the infamous De'Aaron Fox layup. With 13 seconds on the clock, De'Aaron Fox gets the ball. If he holds it, he wastes time and the Knicks have to foul, which gives him an opportunity to make some points. Instead, he does this.
Fox has it inside, blocked by Anunoby.
I think this is the best moment to show how the Knicks and the Spurs saw this game differently. The Spurs had a game plan, knock down threes and lock down defense. And for the first half, it worked. Really worked. But in the second half, the Spurs shots weren't falling. Look at their shot plot from the first half and then the second half. Here's why this matters. Think of yourself walking. You lift your leg, you bend your knee, you lean forward, you extend the leg. There are a bunch of steps to walking. And theoretically, there are 2 ways to learn to walk. You could get a list of specific steps and memorize them in order and then try to do them, or you could kind of figure it out without understanding every specific step and instead understanding it as a whole. In psychology, this is is explicit knowledge versus implicit knowledge. Explicit is the list of steps, and implicit is how the whole thing kind of comes together. It's impossible to know what was going on in De'Aaron Fox's head or in the rest of the Spurs' heads throughout this game, but we do know that even elite athletes can revert to explicit knowledge when under pressure, which makes performance worse. De'Aaron Fox is just the most obvious example, but throughout the second half, the Spurs took fast threes instead of wasting time on the clock. Even one of the announcers, I think it was Mike Breen, said,
"And right now, Mike Brown doesn't mind those quick threes by the Spurs. Even if they go in, you want to speed this game up to give your team more possessions."
So when De'Aaron Fox gets the ball, I don't think he sees the game. I think he sees the game plan. That's choking, and it gave the Knicks the opportunity.
Fires up a three. Shot no good. The chip, it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. With 1.2 remaining. Knicks take the lead.
So are you born clutch? No. There might be personality traits that make you more likely to become clutch, but clutch is something you build. And it's not permanent either. De'Aaron Fox choked in this game, but he came up really clutch in the game before and even won Clutch Player of the Year back in 2023. To be clutch is to be confident in yourself and the people around you. It's to understand that you are always in control, and it's to understand the game as a whole instead of just a series of specifics. All those variables work together and influence each other to create clutchness under pressure. And it's important to remember there's a lot of variables I didn't even talk about. 3 of the 5 starters on the Knicks played together at Villanova. That type of team chemistry almost definitely improves performance under pressure. We also didn't talk about anxiety. A lot of research says that anxiety can take up space in our working memory, which can cause us to make mistakes under pressure. But this study didn't actually see a significant relationship between anxiety levels and performance under pressure. Instead, it looks like anxiety impacts the other variables, and that impacts performance. And this study saw that people who choke and those who clutch up are usually at pretty similar levels of anxiety. Those who perform well just learn to deal with it. Mental toughness is really big. I was positive we were going to be talking about mental toughness until this study didn't see any connection between mental toughness and performance under pressure. How that's possible, I have no idea. And maybe most importantly, if the Spurs had won this game, we'd be calling Josh Hart a choke artist for missing the dunk. We would not be talking about De'Aaron Fox's layup or Wemby's missed free throws. The Knicks would go on to win the series in the next game. They would set the 1st, 4th, and 6th biggest comeback records in NBA Finals history, all within these 5 games. And they would do it because being clutch is not something you are born with, it is something you build.